Hello and welcome to World Talks on TVP World. I'm your host Benjamin Lee, and please join me and my guest on this next interview. European Commission officials arrived in Budapest for urgent fast-track talks with incoming Hungarian Prime Minister Péter's team, aiming to unlock billions in frozen EU funds tied to rule of law reforms. With the tight deadline and economic pressure mounting, the outcome could redefine Hungary's EU relations. Joining us today on TVP World to break this down is Csaba Lukács, Managing Director of Magyar Hang, a seasoned journalist closely tracking Hungary's political transformation. Hello and welcome to TVP World.
Hello and thank you for the invitation.
So how unusual is it for Brussels to engage so directly with an incoming government before it was even formally taking office? And what does that signal politically?
It's really unusual and also unusual that for me as a journalist, it was first time after 8 years to be let in the Hungarian parliament building. So we are living in a historical times now in Hungary, and the delegation arrived in Budapest this afternoon and will be in Hungary for 2 days. And we knew from our sources that those talks were started 1.5 years ago between TISA crew and EU officials. So they were already prepared, if they will win the election, to be as fast as possible. There are 4 basic conditions for receiving EU funds in Hungary. And the Péter Magyar and the TISA delegation was taking a press conference today, and they were mentioned the whole procedure, how it will going. And Mr. Magyar was saying that the new Hungarian government must fulfill the anti-corruption measures, such as joining to the European Public Prosecutor Office. The second condition is restoring the independence of the judiciary and investigative authorities. The third condition is about press, so ensuring freedom of the press. And the last one is restoring academic freedom. As you probably know, the Hungarian universities and research institutes were captured by the former government, and they put into foundation. So they should be they should be put under the state conditions again without political nominees.
Right. Now, with the European Commission officials going into Hungary, to what extent is this an actual negotiation with dialogue versus just more of a compliance process dictated by some preset European Union conditions?
There is no news was leaking what they will talk. So probably we don't know even who will be the Ministry of Economy or Ministry of Justice yet. So for Magyar Péter, it's a really hard task because he has to set up his new government nowadays. He was discussing about the formation of the new National Assembly in the Parliament, and also the negotiations with EU. So they are flying without any, they have to focus for too many things at one time, and nobody knows yet if they will be successful. So we have the deadline until the 31 of August. That's the final date when Hungary can receive any EU money. And we will see if they will be successful and they will receive some funds. So we heard that they will establish new companies with clear goals that what Hungary will do with that EU money. But it's not sure that it will be accepted by EU officials yet. So we have good hopes, but there is no insurance that will go in a good way.
Right, like I mentioned, there is a deadline looming, and that's of course quite short. And can you help us understand what makes the release of these EU funds so urgent right now, given that, well, again, the deadline is looming?
The Hungarian economy is in terrible condition, and the former government spent all the budget for the campaign issues. So probably the budget is totally empty. So it's essential for the new government to get some European money to survive. We have problems with the pipeline, with Russia, Druzhba pipeline. So probably we will have a shortage on fuel soon, because the Druzhba was not restarted yet. So the new Hungarian government need, in a desperate way, money. and they are trying to do their best to get that money from EU.
Now, are there any reforms that's being required that's likely to cause some sort of political turbulence? Is it something sensitive that will be difficult to implement?
The media probably will be quite hard task. We saw what's happened in Poland when Donald Tusk won the election. So Magyar Péter was already saying that he will stop the news service for the Hungarian public media until the whole system will be not changed. Nobody knows who will be in charge of the new media authority. So Magyar Péter was openly saying in his victory speech that even the media leaders should be replaced, but nobody knows who will be the next one. So I'm not sure that procedure will be so smooth as is expected. And also they have many tasks in one time to do, and their time is not infinite. So we don't know how they can manage it until 31 of August.
Right. Do you think there are any more institutional resistance that's remaining from the Orbán era, or do you think that having a super majority is enough within the parliament?
We don't have the government yet, so the government cannot make anything, and also we don't have the parliament yet, so even the final election results will come probably at the end of this week. Mm-hmm. So if those people will not step down voluntarily, Magyar Péter cannot do anything yet. So first, the most important thing is to form the new Hungarian parliament. In that day, probably they will vote the new prime minister, and the new prime minister will set up as soon as possible the government. And after that, they can start to make new laws to replace those people. So it takes a lot of time, but time is the most precious thing now in Hungary. So they don't have enough time for everything.
Right. It does seem like the incoming government will have a lot to juggle with very little time to work with. Now, last but not least, we're also very curious because people are looking at this election from a geopolitical angle as well. Do you think that this will signal a genuine reset in the EU-Hungary relations, or will there still be some friction within?
I think that Magyar Péter has only one way to survive, to reestablish the good connections with EU officials. And he is trying to do his best on that. He was a European Parliament member. He has good connections. He has good connections with EPP, the biggest force in the European Parliament. So for him, it's essential to not have more problems with EU. And also Magyar Péter was saying that he will ask the EU prosecutor office to come in Hungary because corruption was the main issue in the campaign. He was promising for Hungarian people that those politicians who were stealing some money or a lot of money, those Fidesz politicians will be put on trial. So I think EU needs Magyar Péter in this time, and Magyar Péter needs EU definitely to do a good job in his first year of governance.
All right. And of course, just fresh off the election, we'll have to see how the government look like going forward. But in the meantime, thank you so much for your input and insight. Really appreciate it. And thanks for being with us on TVP World.
Thank you for the invitation.
Yes. And thank you for tuning into this edition of World Talks. But for more news, update, and commentary, please stay tuned to TVP World.